It's the equivalent of that, but for confidence, for momentum, for continuing going with good and bad momentum. So that's I think the small decisions is like a lovely little framework on that. One of the other common areas I think that people are struggling with, young men, very directionless at the moment. What's your advice? You speak to a lot of young men, train a lot of young men. What's your advice to young men that are struggling with direction in life?
It's interesting because when I hear this, I'm always a little bit puzzled about who these young men are that are directionless, because I work with a lot of different companies. I have a leadership consulting company. I work with all different kinds of companies, and whether it's construction companies, energy companies, software companies, finance companies, like there are a bunch of young men out there and they are getting after it, whether they're linemen, whether they're on oil rigs, whether they're software developers. Like there's all kinds of people that are out there crushing. And so when I hear about people that, what'd you say, are lost or
directionless?
Yeah. What do you want to do with your life? I guess that's my question. What do you want to do with your life? Because you got one life. It's going by quickly. And this is something that years ago, I spent a good chunk of I guess it was my 30s training MMA fighters. And, we had a jiu-jitsu gym, we had an MMA gym. And so in the beginning, when a potential fighter would come in and they'd be 22 years old and I'd say, "Hey, how old are you?" And they'd say, "I'm 22. And they'd say, "I want to fight. There's a fight card coming up. I want to be on it." And I was like, I'd tell them, "Listen, you got plenty of time, like get better, train, up your skills." And I said that for probably 3 or 4 years. And then after 3 or 4 years, when guys would come in, I would start telling them the opposite, which is you need to get on it. You need to be in here every day. You're almost out of time. You're 22, you're late. Because I realized I saw a lot of people that didn't have any sense of urgency in their life. And when you don't have a sense of urgency, things aren't going to happen. You need to make things happen, as we already discussed. They're not just going to happen for you. You're not going to become a good fighter unless you make it happen. And you're not going to do anything in life unless you make it happen. So if you feel like right now you're looking around and you're lost or directionless, I would take about 15 minutes and figure out what the hell you want to do with your life. And I would start getting after it. So that's my advice. Take 15 minutes, figure out something that you're into and go crush that thing and make it happen.
Yeah. I mean, for better or worse, life is really short. And it's this ridiculous irony that you only see in retrospect how short it is, right? It doesn't feel short at the time, but I bet when you get to your 80s and you look back, you think, holy fuck, that went by in no time at all.
Yeah, I had that conversation with my mom a couple of years ago, and she said, I was like, "Oh, hey, how's it going?" Talking on the phone, and she said, "Oh, it's been a pretty rough couple months because this person died, this person died, this person died." And she's almost 80 or something like that. And so people die. And I said to her, "Mom, all those people that you're talking about that are 80, 85, 87 years old, like they've had a full run at it." I'm like, I've buried my friends that are 27 years old, 30 years old, 31 years old. Like that's horrible. And so people that got this full run, man, be thankful that they got that full run. And right now, if you're a dude and you're 22 years old and you feel like you're directionless, get your shit together, man, and go start making things happen.
Yeah, that sense of urgency is such an interesting one. We are prepared to sort of waste years trying to work out what would take us days to do. It is. I understand why some people have degrees of regret around that. because they think, fuck, like I don't know where that time went. I wish I'd known this thing sooner. But again, if action's the antidote to anxiety, the only way that you can work out what it is that you need to do is by hurrying up and doing it. And again, if the fear of failure, the fear of the unknown is worse than the actual thing, it all ties together. I think everything that we've spoken about.